So I spoke about this in the earlier slide a little bit, why it is very important. So one, obviously the dynamic environment. It is, I mean, like I said earlier, whether it's changing in the spam filter rules or changing in the way people look at their inboxes or changing the way, how deliverability is affected or how the market is changing, how people are perceiving email marketing, what kind of other competition you have. So, earlier it used to be only say, a bank sending you emails, but right now it's even real estate emails, at least in the Indian market, coming to you. So these kind of dynamic sort of variables need to be addressed, and it is important to analytics helps us in a long way to come down to what is going on. To understand customer behavior for sure, like I said, if you drill down to the micro level data, you can actually understand what different customers are perceiving and what different customers, how different customers are reacting to your different kind of emails. And the last point is again identifying target points. So that's more like identifying gaps as well as identifying the good points that are coming out of your email. So it is important to eliminate the ones that are not working, but at the same time also focus on the ones that are working. So with this analytics, we can easily identify the emails that the kind of campaigns that are working for you, to whom and to when. Broadly, this is, I'll cover, I think, analytics. We couple of points around tips again. So this is again just something this is very generic, not pertaining to email marketing at all. I think the takeaway here from at least the left one is that, I mean, we should have some confidence in what we are trying to do. Don't be scared to experiment. You should take some time to experiment, but make sure that it does not keep on running on the experimental base too long. I mean, it's important to sort of optimize what we're trying to do and to understand, which again comes from doing some deep down analytics as well. So some of the advantages that we have, at least that I see in the Indian industry, specifically pertaining to email marketing, is that it's relatively unexplored. I mean, and we have a lot of room to to do a lot of experiments and set benchmarks for ourselves. So this is where, so I think that is one key takeaway that we should take away from this slide. So analytics. So just a few caveats which I thought I'll put here pertaining to analytics when we start looking at data and trying to understand, what's working and what's not. So do not jump to conclusions on just one data point. It is extremely important to verify. It could be a specific kind of campaign to a specific kind of user base, but we need to be very sure that we are on the right track with that. Just experiment with it again and again, at least 2 to 3 times, 5 times, to be sure that this is not working or this is working. And which come to my second point is that there will always be some noise in the data, but do not get too paranoid about removing all of it, because as there could be multiple variables, for example, right from the time of the day to the content to the promotions that are running on your website, even on competitors' website, that could be affecting how your email or your marketing is being affected. But let's try our best to remove them, but not get paranoid about them, because we won't be able to do the justice to the numbers if we keep looking at them too much. Always take a substantial base for experiment. I mean, you want to take a number for which some change can actually be looked at. So if you take a very small number, if there's slight change in, say, open rate or the revenue or conversion, anything which is minuscule to even monitor, we'll never be able to come up with anything substantial. So it's important that when we experiment, we have that confidence and we take substantial number to send. Keep updating data very regularly. This is extremely important because so this again ties into the other point that I made earlier, whether we are facing with a very dynamic environment. So it is important to keep on. So this data is not just related to subscribers, but also your content, your marketing strategies, unsubscriptions, visits, etc. And last, I mean, keep it simple. I mean, don't get too worked up about what is to be done. You start very simply, and as we go along, experimenting and looking at data, it becomes very easy to identify what are the points that to be focused on. So the next section we will cover quickly is the CRM. So just a couple of interesting facts that I pulled off the internet again. So it's 25% of our population has email addresses, but the downside is that close to 110 emails are being sent and received. So that's a large number, and I mean it's important for us to be able to sort of differentiate ourselves or stand out. So the takeaway here again is that you have to stand out of the crowd. Give you a quick example. Groupon. I received a mail from Groupon couple of 3 to 4 weeks back, and the subject line read "worst buffets in Delhi." So I'm not sure whether Groupon got sued by the vendors there, but at least it made me open that email. So the idea from this slide that I'm trying to push through is that it's important to stand off what's going on. I'll just pause there for a second if there's so CRM quickly. So CRM, I've just kept the outlook very simple here. So the idea behind CRM, and especially pertaining to email marketing, is to look at it like a table with having a lot of columns and a lot of rows attached to each email ID. Given that email ID is the primary identifier for email marketing purposes. So I've just broken it down into, say, 4 parameters. There could be a lot of different tables pertaining to this. So the first one is very basic, where it talks about your demographics. It's just fact data, your email ID, your state, etc., mobile number. The second is the order data that you probably pull from the interaction that the person is having on your website. It could be right from the product that's being ordered to the brand that's being ordered, what time it's being delivered at, etc. Visit data is again something that at least we internally track from Omniture. Is basically to look at what kind of activity an email ID is having on your survey, what kind of pages a person is browsing, how much time it's spending on different pages, different categories. Then comes the derived data. So this is probably working with a lot with the analytics team to identify different variables from the top 3 to come up with a category preference. So we work with a lot of modeling data models, and to come up with, say, X person is likes, say, computers and peripherals category versus Y likes, say, fashion categories. Using this data, so the idea is to have like a one-stop shop for all your customer data, which can be used for your marketing purposes, not just email. Why we need it? So I'll quickly talk about the importance pertaining to email marketing only. One is very important to link it to promotions. So not just promotions that are currently running on your website, to the promotions that a person would actually like, based on category affinity, based on what time he's visited, what time he likes to open his email, or what time he likes to come on the website. It is very important to link it to promotions. It gives us a lot of detail about what the customer is doing. One sort of important point that we should look at here is not to go too detailed. So CRM should always be processed data as well, not raw data. So it's important that that data can be directly used for your marketing purposes. Another sort of component that could be a part of CRM is how many emails are being sent to a person every day. So that is something that also we track. So this is important to sort of not bombard the person with too many emails, to identify if a person likes receiving monthly emails or bi-weekly emails or emails daily, and obviously to personalize. So it could be a lot. So right from demographic personalization to using your first name, to what kind of orders, to what kind of brands he likes. So this is where CRM plays a very important role. So we'll quickly take the second poll. So you guys can see the question. So this is basically to again link to a first question. So if you've experimented, what do you usually experiment on? What kind of parameters? So send time and subject line seems to be the winners. Yeah. So the idea behind this was to just to pick your brains on what kind of experiments are usually done, and what kind of experiments we can do more. So I'm noticing that people usually experiment on send time and subject line, but right, experimenting on frequency. By frequency, I mean how many times a week a person is receiving a mailer, to subject line and to only text mailers. So again, quick tip on experimentation. Now that we're talking about it, so don't be scared to experiment with different kind of campaigns, with different kinds of data. I mean, not everything will work, but it's important to do that, because we're then able to at least identify what is not working and focus on the things that are, and always have an ROI. Without that, I mean, we're just lost on focus. So unless we figure out what returns we're getting from whatever we're doing, whether it's time investment or experiment investment. So this is just the last part. So this is again a poll that I pulled off the internet. This is for a few technology product managers in the US. The references are there at the end. So just to highlight, the importance of email as well as the analytics in the CRM platform to generally a business. Quickly, I'll just summarize what we're talking about in the last 20 minutes or so. So CRM analytics, a combination of both, is what we can use for a very effective marketing strategy. So I'll just give you a quick, sort of overview of how we can do this. So imagine creating a lot of segments with a lot of rules using the combination of both. So from analytics, we feed in a lot of CRM data, process data as well, and identify what is working. And with CRM, okay. And with CRM, we create a lot of segments using these columns. The idea behind this is to identify, what to send, when to send it, and to whom to send it. So to give you an example, what to send could be linked to, does a person like banners more, or does a person like, say, direct products more? When to send is not just the time of the day or the time of the week, but also how many days after a person has visited a particular product should you be sending him a retargeting mail that why don't you buy this? And whom to send it could also be linked to, say, what kind of calendar you have in store for specific kind of customer. So for example, an electronic customer comes and buys today. Is there a calendar for the next week for what kind of mails you should be pushing them, whether it's accessories, mails, or cross-selling fashion products, stuff like that. So I think this is the last slide. I just thought, we'll give you a few examples of what we can do with these. This is the example I mentioned earlier also. So this is about figuring out, so unless we experiment to use a lot of CRM and data analytics, we can never be able to figure out, what is the right time to push a product to a person. So if you visit Amazon.com, Amazon has identified that as close to 7 days. If you visit a product and you stay on the product for a while, 7 days later you'll get the same product saying that why don't you go ahead and buy this. Create a calendar for promotions by customers. So this is again by category of purchase. So if a specific person is buying watches, should I be pushing him belts tomorrow? Or if a specific person is buying mobile, should I be pushing him accessories tomorrow? And revival campaigns, again, very important. So most of us would be having a lot of dead junk database which do not perform well. It is important to revive those because those have been majority, at least for us, and run them every now and then to figure out how to get them active again. So just quickly references of what we've done. We'll move on to the Q&A. I notice we have a lot of questions. So